Owen, let's, if you could, for those who'll be watching this, um, kind of reenact the story that involves Little Rock, Arkansas, earlier this week.
Yeah, so Bill was kind enough to, well, he sends me a message, a text message on, I forget what day that was, the weekend,
It was
right?
Tuesday.
Or Sunday. I
Yep.
think it was probably Sunday. And was it? No, it had to be the week because you were showing me. So it was, the picture was that,
It was Tuesday.
he was showing me that how many people. Oh, it was Tuesday? Okay, I'm crazy. So much is going on. So it was showing me basically how many people are utilizing sign language, that are available using sign language, and how important it is, and I'm thinking, I said, wow, that's a lot of people. Then he sends me a video, and in the video, this woman, and she's doing sign language like in the middle of, it looked like a diner or something. I couldn't even tell what it
Panera,
was, but she was just
Panera, the
sort of
finest Panera bread in Little Rock,
speaking.
Arkansas.
It was a Panera.
Yes, and she was with two others.
I
So
myself, I could have helped her, with her order. That was kind of my thought. That similar scenario that kind of led me to my graduate
just
project, which was that
one second, Leah, is he breaking up or is it me?
I
Say it
think
again.
Leia's on mute. She's probably saying yes.
Yeah,
So.
you're on.
Yeah, a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit, so.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not me. So I have 3 bars of 5G here in the middle of parts unknown. But go ahead, Owen. Let me do another preamble here. Owen is about to receive a PhD, and the work that he's done relates to developing a an instrument, a tablet, or a means by which people who only speak sign language can sign into the device, and then it will spit out and interpret English so that their words or hand motions can then be interpreted by someone who doesn't speak sign language, like me. So I happen to be in a Panera Bread on the migration from outside of Houston, Texas to northern Vermont, and I saw these 3 women signing with each other. And I thought, okay, you don't get opportunities like this very often. So I took a 6-second video of one of them communicating with her 2 friends, sent it to Owen, and then I said, are you okay with me approaching these 3 women? The answer was yes. And then ultimately, I told them that my client and friend is developing a device that will translate sign language into English so that people who don't use it or don't know sign language can speak with you. And all 3 of them, like, as soon as they, and I had to type it and then show them individually what I just said. And all 3 of them, like, looked at me and said, oh, like they nodded their head, thumbs up, the whole thing. So then I was texting Owen. I said, okay, what else do I need to tell them? And then I did that. And I said, would you be interested in a device like this? And Jackie, who was the one closest to me, said yes. And I said, can I connect you with Owen? And she said yes. So I got her cell number and she and Owen connected. Then Owen recorded a couple of videos without captions, I might add. And then, but I was able to get some captions on them and then sent them to Jackie. And she now has his overview and description of what the device is all about, with video and photos that show what it really is and how it's going to work. And she's extremely excited. I'd love to see technology like this that will help us communicate, is what her response was on text. So I know that isn't everything that happened this week, Owen, but it certainly was something that neither one of us expected. But it's one of those things that when opportunity arises, you need to jump on it. And that's what I did. So, and so did you. Okay. So, by the way, when do we have to start calling you Dr. Owen, which I'm going to have to really adjust my mindset here to be saying that. When will you finish up with your PhD? When will the cap and gown thing happen?
Well, but I don't. They do the cap and gown thing in a specific schedule, but truthfully, it's probably not more than 6 weeks.
Oh, that's great. This is really good. So, the line of communication is what I'll call basic elemental market research, qualitative. But when you get qualitative research that would suggest either feature improvements or any other thing that you and I would never even think about because we have hearing. This is the kind of thing that you now have a captive audience to do that kind of thing. And I'm sure you could send them a prototype and that, you know, they would assess it, evaluate it, and communicate with you one way or the other in terms of how to make it work. So this is great. And I know this is not the reason you and I started working together. You know, it was really more about what is your next position, you know, what is your next plan A in the real world. But I still believe that what you've developed as a prototype, as long as it gets patented early enough and the patent is broad enough, can be a huge winner for the 11 million people who only use sign language.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it would be nice. I mean, for me, the ideal state would be, you know, just like there's a handicapped parking spot, you
Yes.
know, for people who are handicapped, you would go to the grocery store and I mean, maybe it's not every aisle, but it's like the fast checkout aisle or something. And it would just have this little camera and you just talk to it
Sign in the
and it
camera.
tells
Yes.
you, you know, where the bread is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not like that would be, I think that would be neat, especially because I mean, I don't know how bad it is for these guys, but well, if it's anything like what I saw, what I described at the grocery store, if that goes on every day, that's unfortunately that's painful. I mean,
Yes.
it's a pretty serious situation. I mean, you just want one thing and you're trying to get out of the store and you can't. So anyway, that's my story on that one. But the only other thing that happened was that I had the I had the three phone screens. I talked to you about that a little bit last
Right.
time. Um, two of them I thought were really easy, and they were easy because the one of them was the company's recruit. One of them was the company's recruiter. One of them was an outside recruiter. Well, two of them were the company's recruiters, and one of them was the outside recruiter. And the two that were the company recruiters, and wasn't a very difficult phone screen. I kind of hope I could get to them with them, but the situation is actually kind of sad. The person that's doing the territory is living in Florida, which I don't know why they would do that, and they're trying to
Wow.
manage like New York and New
Okay.
Jersey and Pennsylvania, and so they're on a PIP. So it's
Right.
kind of, you know what I mean? I don't want to, I don't be the kind of person that kind of displaces another person, but that's just a foolish plan. If that's how you want to run, your territory or whatever you're trying to do, you need to be near your end users, your customers or whatever. So that's kind of on him or her. I don't know which one it is. The second one was, a chemical company. They actually are next door to where I used to live in Connecticut. So I kind of know, I used to pass by there all the time. So I kind of know something about them, but they are somewhat chemical competitors to a place I used to work at previously. And then the last one was my exact competitor from the previous company that I worked with.
Wow.
So the one that's the exact competitor, I'm really interested in that one. I don't know how far we'll get, but that was the one you and I worked on where I just wanted to talk about how I left the previous company or why.
Right.
And I wanted to put it together in a way that I thought made sense, and I thought we did a really good job. Sort of making that description. I mean, the reality is I left that position for another position what I thought was more rewarding. But within a short period of time, the other people said, hey, we had originally offered this job to someone else and they wanted that person. He had become available. And then they basically found a way to usher me out, which didn't feel very good, but that's what happened. And so I wanted to focus on the version of the truth, which was that the real reason I was interested in leaving that original company is because we had an opportunity to go after a market and they didn't seem very interested in it. And so I want to focus. They're both the truth. It's just that I want to focus on the version of the truth I think that would make the customers, the end user, say, wait a minute, that's where we want to be. Somebody who wants to kind of grow the company.
And